Good job on losing the mission in Santa Monica and having your celebrity center in Munich abandoned. Fastest dying cult in the world. You don't have to buy the Golden Dawn anymore. The whole thing is online free. You can listen to an hour and a half of L. Ron Hubbard asking you if there's a wall and a sidewalk. Is that a sidewalk? Is that a real sidewalk? Is that sidewalk made out of concrete or wood? An hour and a half of L. Ron Hubbard's insane babbling is now free online. Scientology just folded its mission in Santa Monica, and they lost the celebrity center in Munich. Care to comment? How about Anonymous hanging out of your org in Norway, which was abandoned, with the flag of Anonymous hanging out of the window? No comment. Any comment, guys, on about losing your mission in Santa Monica or having the celebrity center in Munich go out of business? No comment. Scientologist able to communicate.
I see you here a lot.
Yeah.
And I don't support Scientology, but what makes you so passionate about, like, because there's a few guys that are always out here.
Well, one is they vehemently attack their critics. L. Ron Hubbard said anyone who's critical of Scientology has hidden crimes, and if you can't make them, find them and destroy them. And one of the protesters, they fabricated a stalking charge. The guy that's normally out here.
Is the guy with the mask?
Yeah, he was standing over here protesting one day, and one of the women went, "You're stalking me!" He went in, called 911, said she feared for her life. And that's very typical of how Scientology operates. They will, you know, they have a history of breaking into buildings looking for stuff like that. You know, anybody can believe any nutcase thing they want. That's their God-given right in America. When you start attacking people who try to leave the organization or speak out, well, they have this practice, it's called disconnection. If you're in Scientology and your family's in Scientology and you leave, they can't talk to you. The church tells them that if they talk to you, they will be kicked out of the church and chastised by all the other members. And there are very real financial and human rights abuses that they, you know, this woman, Lisa McPherson, who's in this photo, they cleaned her out for 200 grand, and they had her in her care after a minor car accident. And when she died, she weighed 95 pounds, was completely dehydrated, cockroach bites on her hands and feet, puncture wounds all over her body. And they tell their members, oh, it was a simple pulmonary embolism. It could have happened to anybody. I had one of the members come out and accuse me of photoshopping these photos.
Wow.
And they talk to you like, if you're critical, they're like I was out here for the first time, and one guy went, L. Ron Hubbard said, if you are against Scientology, you have hidden crimes. This is like a robotic thing. And I just, you know, I don't like seeing people attacked for exercising free speech. I don't like seeing members winding up dead, disconnected, financially broke. It's a song that just keeps repeating in their organization. And they also have a very long history of trying to infiltrate governments. 11 of their members went to federal prison for infiltrating the Internal Revenue Service. They were trying to get blackmail materials called Operation Snow White. You can look it up online.
Wow.
They just had their offices raided in Italy about 4 or 5 months ago, and the Italian police found that they had been building dossiers on police chiefs, government officials. They were convicted of fraud in France last year. So, I mean, this is not, you know, I mean, again, anybody can believe anything they want, but when an organization starts executing this kind of righteous attitude of destroying people, interfering in government institutions, I just consider it my duty as a citizen to kind of have to say something. And the more they abuse people and the more they suppress free speech, the more they're going to wind up having me at their front doorstep. Mm-hmm. So it's that, I mean, I am passionate because I care about free speech and I care about human rights. It's not so much being anti-Scientology. You know, the Catholic Church has got its own problems, and I'm not giving them a clear pass, but they've acknowledged that they have those problems. And on some level, I'm not saying they've done it 100%, on some level they're trying to resolve them. These guys are in total denial. They will attack anybody that points out their problems. So
That's interesting.
So that's why I'm here.
Huh. How long have you been protesting?
I've only been protesting actively outside for a few months, but I've been doing stuff on the internet, you know, like documenting history of Scientology and their abuses going back, you know, probably well over a year. And the big thing was in 2008, what happened is Tom Cruise had a video that got leaked.
I remember that video.
The one where he's talking about how great Scientology is.
Yeah, I watched it.
And these guys went right after YouTube. They were like, yeah, they filed a order to remove it from the internet, or they're going to sue YouTube for violating their, I don't know what they call it, copyright infringement or something. And that pissed off a lot of, you know, freedom-loving folks in this country. So like people were putting it back up by the hundreds. I mean, you know, people had already gotten copies of it. And that was what was the initiation of this thing called Anonymous. And that's where that mask comes from.
Can I ask you a question
Sure.
on that? My boyfriend was saying like Fortune. Have you heard of Fortune on the internet or yeah, online? Like it's sort of a underbelly of the internet. He described it.
I'm not sure.
Okay. He recognized something related to it and was like, oh, that guy's from 4chan or 4chan.
Oh, 4chan.
4chan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like Project Chanology and.
Is it related to that at all? Or?
In some ways, yeah. I think I'm not a super expert on it, but those were kind of like people who, you know, they find things that they consider social issues and they attack it through the internet.
Yeah.
And I guess Anonymous was the real world manifestation of that. And the reason people wear the Guy Fawkes mask from the V Vendetta movie is twofold. One is, it's not about us. You know, so I mean, I don't care to wear a mask. It's hot, I get sweaty, you know, it's hard to see. But the really big reason is these people stalk their critics. We have video online where they show up outside of people's houses with signs saying your neighbor's a religious bigot. They'll print up flyers calling the person a pedophile and stuff, and they hand it out to all the neighbors in the neighborhood.
Wow.
And they will show up at your work. They'll have private investigators show up at your job, you know, asking, you know, why does the person employ a religious bigot? You know, are they aware that they're a member of a hate group? The protester that they stalked, the protester that they filed the fake stalking report on, who's now having to fight that legally, about a week before that, they called his parents and were like, do you know, we're really worried for your son's safety. He's outside of our building all the time and we're concerned something really bad could happen to him. And they do things like that. And
have you had anything like that happen? Or
I have not, because they don't know who I am. The other thing is he got his SP declare. Scientology has this yellow piece of paper they give. It's called Suppressive Persons Declare. I don't think that they issue it to people that were never members. I think it's only ex-members, and he was an ex-member.
Oh.
And what it says is, and I can say his name because his name, he's in court, he's online. His name is Brian Mandigo. And what it said was, Brian Mandigo is it's hereby notice to all Scientologists in public. Brian Mandigo is a convicted felon, which he's not.
Wow.
And he preaches untruths about Scientology, blah blah blah. He's an evil person. He kills kittens, or that kind of crap, but not those words. And all Scientologists are hereby ordered to disconnect and never speak to him as long as they live. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
So he got that on camera right out in front of the building here. So that was pretty wild. And for years they denied the disconnection thing, but they've been caught on camera doing it. So, and all these bigwigs in Hollywood are starting to abandon them.
Really?
Yeah, like Paul Haggis, screenwriter, director, had something to do. He's a big time director, writer. And he's like denounced them after being in for 30 years. This guy, Larry Anderson, who was in their orientation video, they had this really bizarre orientation video where Larry Anderson would come out after you watch the video, and you go, "You're perfectly free to leave this theater right now, and never mention Scientology again. but that would be stupid. You could kill yourself too. You know, and it's like that's how you're speaking to somebody who just watched a video. Mm-hmm. It's like if they don't get your technology or your thinking now, their life will just be, you know, ruined. That's pathetic. Well, he left after 30 years, and he tape recorded a conversation with Tommy Davis, their spokesperson. And Tommy Davis, in this audio tape, said, if you leave and you make a big deal, we'll disconnect you from all the people in the church. And Larry Anderson was basically like saying, you guys deny that publicly, mm-hmm. that you do that, mm-hmm. you know? Mm-hmm. And I guess he didn't realize that it was being tape recorded. So that's on the internet. Wow. Yeah. And what's really wild is they went ape on South Park.
Oh yeah.
And that's
that's
an accurate, because L. Ron Hubbard is on audio tape. You can actually hear L. Ron Hubbard explaining Xenu the Galactic Overlord and the dead aliens attaching themselves to you.
Wow.
And they really, now you don't believe that when you're first in. It takes about $100,000 and about 10 years of brainwashing before you find out that that's what life's problems are really all based on. Make sure to get the Golden Dawn audio. It's free online. You can listen to an hour and a half of L. Ron Hubbard babbling. It's a little after 6:30 on September 2nd, 2010. And I'm at the DC org. I can't wait till Friday. I gotta get to the interbulation station now. Make sure to ask them why the Celebrity Center in Munich just folded and the mission in Santa Monica has been abandoned. The Celebrity Center in Munich just folded. It's been abandoned. But don't worry, the Santa Monica mission's gone too. How come Scientology continues folding its missions and celebrity centers? Celebrity Center in Munich has been abandoned. So has the mission in Santa Monica. It doesn't exist anymore. The org in Norway is gone. The mission in Santa Monica is gone. And the Celebrity Center in Munich is gone. In addition to losing an org in Norway, the Santa Monica mission has been abandoned and the Celebrity Center in Munich is folded. Great job, Scientology.
I like the name Cassidy.
I do too.
Good job on losing the mission in Santa Monica and the Celebrity Center in Munich. They've both been abandoned.